Hey everybody, whatever time it may be, morning, afternoon, or night, whenever you come across this video. For me, it is, let me see, it is 12:44 a.m. Because I was just laying here, I could not sleep. I just couldn't sleep, so I decided to do a quick story time, um, especially since it is Mental Health Awareness Month, and I have a lot of experience with that. You know, I retired from working with the mentally ill. I first started with just, geriatrics, and then that changed over to acute care, and that was with the younger clients. And then after that, I transferred over to prison, which housed criminally insane. So I got, some years under my belt dealing with, psychiatric situations and treatment and therefore. So this story is kind of touching to me because I didn't recognize the signs until the end. And it was like, okay, I worked all these years, like I started when I was 19, just turned 19. And then, worked through the years and retired. I'm 51 now. And I did not recognize the signs until the end. So this is how this story begins. Let me turn this music off. Okay. I do a lot of traveling, and there's a friend of mine. I'm going to change some of the names so that, her situation can remain private. I'm going to call her Carly. So Carly was like one of my very first best friends. Like, this was a friend since I was like 12 years old. Then once she became like 17, 18, we parted ways, but we would see each other here and there through the years. And matter of fact, one time she went on a trip with me. We went to Texas. I was doing some prepaid legal stuff, and kind of, it's like an insurance type thing, but they faded that out. Anyway, we were going on a convention to Texas. So she went on a trip with me before. She was like, now in hindsight, those things on the trip was kind of weird about her. But like I said, we hadn't seen each other in years, and it wasn't like, I don't look at people as being weird. I just look at that's just how they are, as long as they're not trying to hurt me or harm me. You know what I'm saying? Because some people could say, oh, this person is this and this person is that. But this person is not this and this person is not that. So that's what I look into a person. Like, they may have their own, styles or things that they do that I may not do, but they're not a liar, they're not a cheater, they're not a thief, they're not trying to hurt me. That's what matters to me, not, what other people would consider weird. So the things about her, now they're weird, but at the time, I was just like, don't feel that way. She would say little things, and I was like, oh, don't feel that way. Oh, life is not like that. So that was that. That was years ago. So let's go up to, this was my 50th. I think it may have been my 50th birthday. And prior to the trip, because I had planned a trip to go to Myrtle Beach, KOA, and it was like a girls' trip. So two of the people that was going to go end up not going, and I just happened to run into Carly, and she's always, when I would run into her, she would say, when you go on your next trip, let me know. I want to go. I know you be doing all these trips. You be doing all this traveling and camping. I want to go. So when she said that, I was like, you know what? Next month, I'm going to Myrtle Beach. I'm going to drive down. I already had the cabin. You don't have to pay nothing. You have to worry about nothing. Just, bring your own personal belongings and things, or anything extra you want for yourself. So she was like, for real? You serious? I'm like, yeah, I'm serious. I'm telling you, Carly, I got to remember, I don't want to mess around, say her name. Anyway, I'm telling her, like, yes, I'm telling you, we going. So Some weeks go by and I run into her again, and she's like, I'm serious. I've been getting ready for the trip and I want to go. And then she says, but I think I'm gonna drive my own car. So I was like, well, I have a 6-seater. It would make sense, you don't have to drive your car and then pay gas for your car. And she said, well, I got everything I need in there though. So, that's flag number 1. That's another thing. I got to point out some of these flags that I did not notice until the end of this whole shebang. So I'm going to try to speed it up so it don't be a long video. But this story, you would not believe it. So she's telling me she has everything in her car. So I'm just like, well, you don't got to worry about it. It's just 4 of us going. We can all fit in my car comfortably, and you don't have to waste your gas. So she says, you sure? Okay. So I'm like, okay. Flash forward to the day of the trip. The day of the trip, she calls me in the morning, and she said, you know what? I'm just going to take my car and follow y'all. Because I just, I don't want nothing to happen, and I don't have my stuff. I don't have my car. And I'm like, well, Carly, you don't have to worry about it. You're going to be safe in the car. I'm like convincing her. In hindsight, when I get to the end of the story, I'm glad I did, but I feel bad that I didn't. I mean, I'm glad that I did convince her to leave her car, but I'm on the fence if I should have. I don't know. So anyway, the day comes, she comes to my house in her car. And I'm like, girl, you don't have to drive your car. I'm telling you, everything gonna be all right. It's only me. And then mind you, it was me, my sister, my cousin, and Carly was going to be driving down in this car. So, she like, oh, you sure? And I'm like, yes, I promise you, you're going to be fine. So now I follow her back to her house to leave her car, and she get in the car with me. Now, when she got to her house, it was like she was fumbling. She was in the car, she was throwing stuff in my car, but then she was running back to her car, and then she ran in the house. It was just like a lot of fumbling going on. But again, I'm just like, that's just her. So we all in the car. I'm trying to speed this up because it's crazy. We're all in the car, and we're on the road going, and everything is fine. We talking, laughing. We stop at a rest stop. Here's flag number 2 that I did not recognize. We get to flag number 2 that I didn't recognize, that they recognized. My sister and my cousin was like, what's wrong with your friend? Because she got in the front seat, and she put her hood over her head and just was like this in the front seat. But I still was just like, well, maybe she, some people, when they know they're going on a long ride, they get comfortable and they might just want to, go to sleep or whatever. But that was flag number 2, that she was in the car and she just was like bundled up in this hoodie. So we get to a rest stop, and we get there, and I'm like, we're going to go in here. I was like, come on, you want to get some coffee or something to drink? And she was like, I don't know, should I? I was like, yeah, girl, come on. I got you, come on. Let's go get some coffee, and everybody, they're going to go to the bathroom. So we go inside. Here's flag number 3 was we went over to the coffee section. First of all, when she came in there, she had the hoodie on when we was in the rest stop. And then, so I'm like, come on, you want to go over here and get some coffee? And she was just like, should I? And I'm like, yeah, I got you, come on. So then she was like, I never been nowhere. I think I should have just stayed in the car and just waited on y'all. That's why I wish I would have had my car, because I could have just stayed in my car and waited on y'all. And I'm like, Carly, girl, don't worry about it. Come on, we're going to go over here and get some coffee. So here's the flag number 3. When we were at the coffee, she was just looking at it, like, almost like she didn't know what to do or how to make coffee. But I know for a fact she's had coffee before, but it was just like, she was just, so then I got the cup. I was like, here, and I was like, you want some sugar and cream? And she looked at me and was like, should I? And I was like, well, I don't like my coffee black, but you want some cream? So then she's like, yeah. So then I put the cream and sugar in there, and then we got it, and then we Now we're standing there waiting for my sister and cousin to come so we can go back to the car. Now, as we go into the car, she goes and skips ahead and went and got in the car. And they're like, what's up with your girl? I'm like, nothing. You know, I'm still, OMG. So anyway, flash forward, we get to South Carolina, and I visit a friend of mine that lives in South Carolina. Well, my bestie Shay now. I went North Carolina, I went to North Carolina, and we had a hotel room. So we stayed at the hotel. Everything was fine. You know, we ate, we talked, and then we went to sleep or whatever. But when we woke up in the morning, she was just up, and she was like dressed real nice. She had on all this yellow, and everything was yellow, all the way down. But to them, they just like, what's up with your girl? I'm like, nothing. What you mean, what's wrong with her? That's her style, whatever. But she was sitting there on the couch and was just like, and so I'm like, hey, good morning. She was like, good morning. And so I didn't say nothing. I'm like, you all right? Yeah, I'm fine. So I was like, okay. So then that was that. We all took our showers, got dressed. She was already dressed and ready when we got up. So we all got up and got dressed and got back on the road to make it to Myrtle Beach. So we get to Myrtle Beach, get to the campsite. Now, we get to the campsite, and she comes up to the cabin, and she's like, oh my God, this is so beautiful out here. This is so beautiful. You know, I never left out of town. I always been there all my life. I don't go nowhere. This is so beautiful. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for bringing me. And I'm just like, you know, oh girl, I'm feeling joy inside. Like, wow, you know, she really appreciate this, you know, to bring somebody to something, and she just love it so much. She was just like real thankful, you know, like thank you. And then so at the time, the Bike Fest was going on at Myrtle Beach, the Black Bike Fest. So we all hurried up like, come on, let's freshen up, change our clothes, and go down to the beach. And so she like, yeah, we all go in the cabin, everybody getting dressed and all that. So when we're getting ready to leave out of the cabin, we're looking at each other. Everybody's like, oh, you look nice, look nice. She had on like a nice little shirt and a little skirt. And so we walk into the car, and she was like, wait a minute, and ran back in the cabin. So we like, okay, she's got something. We get in the car. She comes back out the cabin with like this sweatsuit on, the hoodie. She had it tied up again. So now they really like, what's wrong with you? And I'm like, I don't know. I'm like, I don't know. Because that part was kind of weird. You was dressed in a nice skirt and a shirt, and then you run in there and get a hoodie and come back out. We get in the car, we go down to the beach. So now we're down there, maybe 2 hours and a half or whatever. Good time. One thing I have to go back to right quick is when we were at the hotel that night, like I said, we were having a good time, and we was doing like little TikToks and things. And so one of the TikToks she did, she was dancing through it. She was having a really good time, and we thought that she did a good job on that part. So we was like, yes, you did that, girl, you did that. And she just was, you know, we had a good time. So in the morning when she woke up and she was in yellow and just was like, yeah, you know, it was like, so anyway, when we're at the, down at the beach, she's down there, her and my cousin had a beer. So me and my sister, we just still on the beach, and then her and my cousin went to one of the little side restaurants, and, you know, so we go in there. This is flag, I don't even know what flag, this is just another flag. She was up on the counter, right? And she was eating a burger. But the way she was eating a burger, it was kind of like how it was falling out her hand, and she was like, and she's like barely sitting on the counter, and I'm looking at her. So in my mind, my first thing is like, she feeling that beer. Now my cousin had already had more than the beer. She only had a beer. My cousin had more than a beer. Maybe a couple shots or something. So I knew my cousin was really feeling it. She was, you know, feeling it. So we had a good time down there. Another thing is we was in the store, and she was like running around the store. And then, so I'm like, the whole time, y'all, I'm like, she's having a really good time. I was happy. I was really happy. I'm like, she's having a really good time. So, we get back to the cabin, because, you know, it was late by this time. So now it's like maybe 12 midnight when we leave down at the beach and go back to the cabin. But we're still up. So let's, like, start a fire or whatever. So we're sitting around the fire, and, she's sitting there, my sister is sitting there, and my cousin. And we got the fire going, we sitting there, and we just like, you know, wow, this is beautiful. The nice weather and everything, the fire was going. And all of a sudden she says, I don't feel right. So I was like, well, go in there, you could get your blanket or something and get some more stuff and get comfortable and come out here, or you could sit up on the swing. So she was like, I don't feel right. I don't feel comfortable. That's what she said. I don't feel comfortable. I don't feel right. I don't feel comfortable. So that's what made me like, well, just go get a blanket or whatever. And so then she gets up, goes in the cabin. We hear some ruffling around and everything. Then she comes back out and she walks past us. But when she came back out, she had her hoodie on again. And she walked past us. And we just looking like, so I'm like, it's about to say her name, y'all. I'm like, Carly, what's going on? She said nothing and kept walking. So then she goes over and knocks on, I see her knocking on the other cabin door. There was a couple in there. So she's saying something to them. We don't know what she's saying. I'm looking at my sister like, what is going on? So the couple is standing there. They look at her. Then they look over at us. And then she walks back towards us and go in the cabin. We hear some more ruffling around. Mind you, while she's in the cabin and ruffling around, the couple that she was talking to had closed their door, but then they came out and sat at their table and lit up a cigarette and was just looking at us. So now we're just like, what the hell is going on right now? Carly comes back out the cabin with like her charger or something, and she starts walking towards them real hard and fast. So now me and my sister start walking real hard and fast. My cousin was already tore up. She just sitting over there by the fire half asleep. We go over there like, well, what's going on? So now the couple is standing there and said, well, she knocked on the door and asked us if we could help her get up to the front because she don't feel safe here with you guys. So now I'm like, Harley, what's going on? Did we do anything? My sister is like, did I do anything? Did I say anything? She like, no, Joe. You ain't got nothing to do with it, Joe. My sister's name is Joy. I'm like, Carly, what's going on? You know what's going on. I'm getting out of here. So I did not know that the people in the cabin had called up front. So apparently the guy, the security or whatever that's on the grounds late at night like that is riding on a golf cart. So soon as the golf cart comes around the bend, she runs down and jumps on the golf cart and says something. I don't know what she said to the guy. She must apparently was like, get me out of here, I'm scared. The guy takes off. And this is in the middle of the night. Now I'm like, oh my God, where is she? I can't rest now knowing she done left off in the middle of the night. We're way down here in South Carolina. Honey, we way down here in South Carolina. She done jumped on. I don't even know these people or the person that was on the golf cart. I don't know if they was a part of the campgrounds because other people were driving golf carts too. So anyway, now I'm just like, we're going to have to drive. I'm going to have to drive at the front and find out what is going on and what happened to her. So now we're just sitting here talking. I'm just like, what the hell is going on? While we're doing that, maybe 20 minutes go by. Well, we're sitting there talking with the couple that was in the cabin next to us, and they're explaining us how, she did seem weird. Like, did she do any drugs? Her eyes seemed to... I was like, no, the only thing she had was a beer. She didn't do any type of drugs when I was around. I don't know what's going on with her. So, while we're talking to the other couple and we're saying we're going to have to go up in front and try to find out where she went, excuse me, she texts me and she says, the security said, can I sleep in your car? And so now I'm like, well, what is going on? I didn't even know how to handle this. I just was just like, maybe she took some drugs when I wasn't looking. Why is she tripping like this? You know what I'm saying? She just like, yeah, she texts me back, you know what's going on. I just need to get out of here. Can you get me an Uber? And I'm like, texting her back, you can't get an Uber from here to home? So I'm like, well, just come back here and then I'll try to help you get home tomorrow. I'm not coming back there. Can I sleep in the car? No, she says, security said, can I sleep in the car? So now I said, yeah, you can sleep in the car, but not with my keys. You know what I'm saying? Because for one thing, I wanted her to come. I didn't know what was going on, but I knew by this time I finally caught it. Like, she's tripping. But I still didn't know that it was what it was. I thought she was just the beer or she got high. I don't know. But I just was like, she tripping. So, she comes back. I guess the security brings her back. She gets in the car and locks the doors. And my sister and cousin was already like scared that she was, for her to sleep in there. Oh, that's what another thing the couple did say, that she was telling them she was scared and we was trying to do something to her. We brought her down there to do something to her. So, anyway, she sleeps in the car. I'm trying to speed this up. She sleeps in the car all night. And then early in the morning, like I didn't even sleep. I was waiting for daylight so that I can get in touch with somebody or try to figure out what was going on with her. I was thinking she was high and maybe it was going to wear off. I don't know. So when the morning came, I went out to the car. She was just sitting in the car like this. And I'm like, Carly. She wouldn't even look my way. She was just sitting there. So then I had to go back in the cabin, get my keys, come back, unlock the door, and I opened the door. And I said, do you want me to see if I can get you a bus or an airplane home or something? And she was like, yes. So then I said, well, let me go in here and look up and see what's around. So by the time I went in there and sat down and was trying to call, I called home. I called my uncle, and I was like, could you go up there to her sister's house and tell her what's going on, yada, yada. By this time, her other sister had she messaged me and said, my sister said, take me to the airport. So I said, well, I need to talk to her first, because at this point, she tripping. I want to make sure she's safe wherever she gonna go. And matter of fact, it was like, my birthday was that day, but I didn't care about that. I'm like, bump that, you know what I'm saying? She need to be safe before I could go and enjoy myself. So I told her, I need to talk to your sister. Tell her to call me, and then I'll know where to take you and everything. So, at the time, she called her sister on the phone because I wanted us to be right there, all in accordance. So her sister was on speaker, and I'm like, look. She's like, what happened, Lala? I'm like, look, I don't know what happened. I ran everything down to her, what happened. Carly was sitting right there. Like, everything I said was exactly on point. She was just sitting right there. So then she said, well, okay, you can, could you just find out, she said, I'm going to find out when the flight is and pay for it and everything. And then she said, could you just give me your number and then I'll let you know what time she need to be at the airport and so forth. So I said, okay, gave her my number. Carly hung up her phone. I left the car and went back in the cabin. At that point, her sister texted me. And then that's when her sister texted me and just was like, is she still around you? I was like, no. And then she was like, well, this is what's going on. And I'm going to include the text in this video. Of course, I'm going to blur out the names. But at that point, her sister told me she has 8 personalities. She has been sick for many years. Her condition is getting worse. Multiple personality disorder, schizophrenia. Like I said, she said she has 8 personalities. She can't be around people for more than 24 hours, especially women. This is the something. And I'm like, what the hell? I retired and I worked many years with the psych and I did not pick up on these signs. But in reality, I believe I didn't pick up on the signs because I didn't want to. I didn't want to know or want to see my friend having a psychiatric illness, in which she did. And another thing that hurt was the fact that her sister said, she kept asking, you sure you want to go on this trip? You know how you get. You sure you want to go on here and be with them? And she said she was just like, yes, I'm going to be fine. I'm taking my own car. I'm going to be good. So, see, I didn't know that was a thing. When she said, all my things are in the car that I need. Multiple personality disorder. Within her switching from personalities, it was probably everything in that car that each personality needs. And she only grabbed a few things and then not having everything. I think that was a part of messing her up. She also told her sister that we were trying to sacrifice her and bring back my cousin. One thing I forgot, when we were driving down, my sister mentioned how ever since she was little, Carly always reminded her of my cousin, which passed away some years ago. And my cousin that was in the car is her sister that passed away. So Joy was like, look, Sterling, don't she look just like Sonya? I always say she looked just like Sonya. So then she said to her, Carly, look, this was my cousin that passed away. Y'all look almost like twins. And they did. They look really so much alike. So to someone who has a psychotic situation going on, things that seem normal to us, that's nothing and just minute, is big to her. So that was a start right there. When we did the, she said they trying to do videos of me, making me a star, and then trying to sacrifice me. And that's why they starting the fire so they could sacrifice me. When we was at the hotel and we was doing the TikToks and things, we was boosting her up because we really did. She did a good job. But in her mind, that was all a part of everything that was going on. And then when we showed her a picture of my cousin that passed away, that looks like her, in her mind, you know, everything was fine. But that's the part that breaks my heart, is that during those times, she was fighting it. Because once we got to the cabin, she was just still like, oh, this is so beautiful. I love this. But then, I guess in her mind, things kept coming up that made her think that this is what was going on. So when she went and knocked on the door at the cabin and tried to leave, at that moment she really was having a psychotic break, and she felt like we got her and brought her down there so that we could sacrifice her and bring my cousin back. Mind you, like I said, I did not even know, because I had not seen her in so many years. And in passing, when I would see her, you know, that was just her. She had little certain styles. That's just her, you know. And I appreciated her for her, but I did not know these things was going on. Else I would not have even, I probably wouldn't have took her down there, to be honest. Because, you know, with her leaving like that in the middle of the night, another thing, I did not want her to be committed down there. Like, I wanted her to get back home safe, because that was so far for her to end up being committed, because she had a psychotic break, family having to travel down there, or her just being stuck all the way down there when she was fine before she went with me. Well, not fine, but if she would have had a break, it would have been here at home and not way down there. So, you know, I wanted to get her back home. I'm trying to end this up right now. Besides all those things that I just did not see. And I'm like, I worked with psych for years. But in hindsight, I could see at the first rest stop, it was a personality. When we got to the cabin and before we was about to go to the beach and she had on a skirt, a personality switched that quick. I think that the personality with the hood is like a little kid because it's when she had that on, she displayed childlike behavior. Like when we was trying to get the coffee, she was like, should I, you know, and like she didn't even know how to prepare the coffee or whatever. So, you know, that time when she was with the burger on the stool, it's like, you know, I think that she was a kid at that moment as well. An older woman, when we was at the hotel that morning, we woke up and she had on all that yellow. I believe that was like a older woman. It was just like, now looking back after her sister told me, I seen the different personalities. So what happened was, I end up, her sister texted me the flight number and everything, and the airport was right around the corner. So, my sister and my cousin was like, no, you're not driving in the car with her. She might run you off the road. I'm like, look, crazy ain't crazy. She don't want y'all in the car because she's nervous. That was the one thing. She said, I'm not riding with them. I'll ride with you. So I'm like, okay, y'all stay here, but take her to the airport and I'll be right back. So they still, you know, all right, but I was like, listen, she's not going to be in the car and just try to run both of us off the road. She's afraid herself. She just, let me take her to the airport. So they said, okay. I drove to the airport. We get out the car. We both go to the back of the trunk so I can get her luggage out. And I says to her, look, Carly, when you go in there, show them this on your phone, your airline, your flight number and everything, and then they're going to tell you, show you exactly where to go. And I said, make sure you talk to somebody at work this so that you will be safe. She looked at me and said, oh, I'm safe now. So I was just like, listen, you know that I would not do nothing to hurt you. You know that. I don't know what's going on with you right now, but you know I would not do nothing to hurt you. Just make sure you get home safe. And I'm sorry you end up having a bad time. And she just looked at me and walked away. So I went back to the cabin, and I did. Her sister, before taking her, I asked her sister to let me know that she got home safe and she was, you know, all right. And so probably about like 2 hours or so, her sister had texted me and told me, yeah, she's home safe and she's happy to be home and she's okay. And that was that. She texted me maybe a few weeks after that trip to tell me that one of her brothers had passed away. And she texted me again one time and said, yeah, I seen you. What you thought I was going to say? I'm not supposed to be here. And so I just was like, I texted her back, oh, you saw me, where at? And she never responded. So I seen her maybe twice as well since then, but I didn't say anything to her. Not because I don't want to talk to her. I don't want her to feel uncomfortable. I don't want her to feel like she's stalking me, she's following me, she's right there. Because I don't know what's going on in her mind. So I still think of her, I'm her friend, but I just wish her well because I know that she feels a certain way from when we was on a trip that I was trying to sacrifice her. So I would never really go close to her. So that's my story and dedication of Mental Health Awareness Month. And thank you guys, whoever made it through this long in the video. It's almost 35 minutes. Yeah, I'm in here in the van. I think I'm tired now. I might be able to go to sleep since I done told that story. anyway, thank you for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe. If you can, share it. Maybe somebody else may find the story interesting. Mental health is a serious thing. I'm sure everybody knows that. I don't even have to say it. It's one of the things that always been dear to my heart. I think even before I started to work in that field, I just have something in my heart for the mentally ill. So I pray that everyone is safe out there. I hope that you have the peace that surpasses all understanding. Thanks for watching.